hit it. There you go. It looks like I know what I'm doing.
I think you're doing a great job, friend.
Yes. Okay. All these people are coming in. Yes.
Hello, friends.
Look who we have.
We're here with Matt Miller.
Yes, people are
Hey,
coming.
everyone.
Numbers are going.
Yeah.
Look, we're all trickling in. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
If you guys can use the chat to tell us where you are, what you're doing, what's happening. If you started school, my kids started today. I could not. I'm like, thank goodness, because I could not wait for them to go to school.
Yes, and tell us what you teach. Tell us what you teach. I love to see all the teachers that we have.
I see Cammy Lee and they're going, yeah, Miller. I love it. That's great. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Numbers keep going up. It's like all these people are trickling in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Higher ed, some high
Oh my goodness. Look at all of you. This is great.
Ooh.
My kids, by the way, my kids went back to school on Wednesday. So they've been back for almost a week. And I think Manny, it sounds like you're kind of like that song. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas where they go, and mom and dad can hardly wait for school to start again.
I remember when I was a teacher, I'm like, these parents, and now I'm the parent. I am the parent that became the teacher.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't check our backpacks.
I know, I get you.
You guys, my husband and I were talking about today, do we feel like kids go back to school sooner now? I don't know if it's now that I've left the classroom, but for some reason this year it just seems so early to me.
Yeah, I know. And we always say, oh, I can't believe how fast summer went by. And it surprises us every single time, you know?
Every
time. I know. It's too bad. Wow. We have quite the
chat.
We have quite the selection of people here. We've got folks from all over the United States. I see the Philippines. I think I saw Korea. I know I saw a couple of folks from Hawaii, which is cool also. I mean, that's in the United States, but you know.
Cincinnatians in there. Hello, Cincy friends.
Yes.
All right. Well, numbers are starting to stabilize, so we can get crack-a-lacking because we have 30 minutes. We're going to honor your time, and we're going to get going with this because otherwise it will be like an hour show.
Which it could easily happen. Friends, Manny and I were talking about before the show just how he and I are both so fascinated about the topic of AI and trying to dig in and learn more. So we felt like a great place to start with you, Matt, was just an introductory conversation about just what is AI. Some of us are a little bit deeper than others, so maybe you could give us the lay of the land.
Yeah. So I know for some of us, like when we think of artificial intelligence, maybe you think of like the Rosie the robot from the Jetsons. I don't know if you remember the Jetsons, but like she was kind of like one of the first AI assistants, or maybe you think of HAL 9000 from the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey, or maybe it's more like dystopian. Maybe it's like Ultron from the Marvel movies. The robot who becomes prescient and wants to like take over the world and destroy everybody that comes in his way. But those are all just robots, fictional, of course, but like robots that run off of and are powered by artificial intelligence. So if you're looking for like a definition of artificial intelligence, it's the idea of training computers or machines to think like humans, by following certain patterns and drawing from memories and stuff. And at first you kind of think like, training computers to think like humans, that's creepy. That's weird, but really the more that you think about it, humans are sort of formulaic thinkers. They're sort of like algorithmic thinkers where, if I need to try to find a way to get to the store, but I also know I need to pick up some gas, there's sort of like a pattern of things that I think through, and I think about what route I want to take. And, so you kind of like work your way through it and come to a conclusion. And then that kind of stuff you can train computers to be able to think that way. So, And then with artificial intelligence, what kind of makes it incredible, and there's all different versions of artificial intelligence. And honestly, artificial intelligence has been around for a long time. For instance, if you've unlocked your phone with your face before, you've used artificial intelligence. Yeah. If you wonder why certain people show up in your social media feeds more than others, you can blame artificial intelligence on that. It's in your, auto reply and your autocomplete on your text messaging apps, even though mine at least feels a little more like artificial stupidity than artificial intelligence, I mean, like all of that stuff is artificial intelligence. It's been around for a while, but now we're starting to get things like Chat GPT that are really catching our eye. And before, those things have been kind of like science fiction to a lot of us. I know it was to me, like things that only sophisticated computer scientists and hackers use. But Chat GPT comes along, and it's a very specific kind of AI model. It's what's called a large language model, which basically means that Chat GPT was, it has learned all of the information that it makes its decisions from and that it works off of from this huge set of data that's made up of 200 billion words from a variety of text sources from all over the web, including books and web pages and academic journals and all sorts of things like that. And then the AI developers can train it with these things called parameters. Parameters are kind of like the little knobs on like a mixer board. So if you can imagine a mixer board, it's got all those little knobs, and anybody that's really good with it, if anybody who's really good with a mixer board can make all of those little adjustments, make the sound come out just right. So what they're doing is AI takes all this information, looks for patterns in it, and tries to learn what it can about humans and all of the totality of knowledge in the world. And then the AI developers can adjust the way that it responds. And so what you get after all of that is you get this large language model like ChatGPT, where, you go up to it and it looks like a Google search from the outside, but you start asking it things and it starts responding in a way that is very, very human. And part of the reason that it's very, very human is because it has studied the way that we interact with other humans. It learned how to speak like a human, so to speak, from watching other humans interact with each other inside of its data set. So anyway, that's kind of like the nuts and bolts of what AI is itself. And then that specific kind of AI, which is the large language model that we see with ChatGPT. And so, of course, when you have a data set of 200 billion words and you have 100 trillion parameters that you can train on, you can do a lot of things with some of these AI assistants. Like, it can write you stories. It can tell you step by step how to fix your washing machine. It can tell you what you can make for dinner by telling it the groceries that you have in your refrigerator. Like, it's just kind of wacky. Kate, you want to go try that now, don't you? Right? So yeah, there's just a ton that you can do with it,
That's what Susan Payton was saying, is like it's as good as its input. And I think sometimes we don't really know what to ask because we just don't know how to use it. And I was at a conference a couple of weeks ago, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, AI and AI," and it's like it's gonna ruin everything. I'm like, girl, when the internet came out, they did not make us all geniuses, okay? Like, information is there. AI, now granted, like you're saying, it makes it sound like it's human. It's not going to take over the whole thing. It's good as its input, right? So it's like, how do we use this to teach better, and how do we use the technology, because it's not going anywhere, to show students what to do with it, because it's available.
Yeah. I'm glad that you said that it's not going anywhere, which is totally true. And I'm going to kind of riff off of that before I answer your question of how we use it, if that's okay, because I think that it's important for us to realize that it is a part of our students' future, right? And so we need to make some adjustments to make sure that students are prepared for a future where it exists. And And the thing that I call this, and I talk about this in my book, AI for Educators. I also have keynote speeches that I've been doing at schools and conferences and stuff where I say, this is our opportunity to look through our tomorrow glasses. So if we want to really prepare students for a future, we got to look through our tomorrow glasses. And what I mean by that is that we're looking at instruction. We're looking at our classroom through the needs that students are going to have in their future, which is 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road. The hard part about doing that is we have no idea what it's going to look like. Like, how do you prepare students for a future that you can't even envision, you know? But what we've got to do is we've got to kind of start to try our best to envision what it is. We look at AI the way that it is right now, and AI is just one example, but you look at AI the way that it is right now and you go, okay, if it can do this today, what can it do tomorrow? If you can do that tomorrow, what can it do in a week, in a month, in a year? And you start to kind of extrapolate it out, and it starts to help you see a little bit. But I think that that's definitely something that we need to look at. Now, as far as how it can help and what it can do, oh my goodness, there's a ton. In fact, Paul goes 30 minutes is dwindling.
We're out of time.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And actually, if I can ask in the chat, if any of you have your favorite things that you asked ChatGPT to do for you, go dump those in the chat and we'll just see what everybody says. But things that you can do for you, I mean, there's a ton. For instance, you can ask it to write lesson plans for you. Now, does that mean that you have to take what it gives you and use it exactly as is? No, because AI a lot of times becomes your first draft of a lot of the things that you want to do. So if it took you 20 minutes to write lesson plans and instead you asked ChatGPT to write you some lesson plans, you go, oh, this is pretty good. I'm going to adjust this and this and this, but I can leave the rest of it. Maybe your 20-minute lesson planning session only takes 8. And now all of a sudden you've saved 12 minutes. That's a more realistic view of what it can do. But in addition to that, helps you come up with discussion questions, and it can provide feedback. It can give you teaching ideas. It can help you write emails. It can, I mean, just like all of this stuff. The thing that I think makes me the most excited about it is that this is one technology that's basically promising to take things off the plates of teachers. Instead of putting more and more things, think about it, schools and school districts and politicians and school admins and everything a lot of time add more responsibilities to a teacher's plate. This is one of those things that can help you get done with stuff faster, which will give teachers the currency that they use to do the coolest thing in their classroom. And that currency, of course, is time. Gives them time to do really cool things. So those are just a couple of the things off the top of my head that I'm really excited about.
Well, and Matt, as you're saying that, I'm thinking how much time I spent writing student samples of different writing pieces, of vocab and context, of just little things that would slowly add up so quickly that now I could easily ask ChatGPT, write a paragraph using this format that I want my students to use. And then I could share it with them. And then my time is focused on the end of the year project that I'm really excited about, or what we're doing at the end of the unit with our chipatronics, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. And honestly, if you go up and down through some of these things in the chat, this is like so good. Like Sarah says, parent emails, and someone says, tell me a joke about my content area. Susan says, letters of recommendation. Lisa says, edit report card comments. I mean, Kristen says, convert student feedback bullets into a narrative. Joanne says, get started on writing letter or narrative comments. I mean, just someone says, help with writing donors choose projects. I mean, just there's a whole there's like a whole education in the chat for this right now. It's incredible.
I love the curriculum map.
Oh yeah.
Consuming. Yes, that's fabulous. So I know our 30 minutes are dwindling.
Yeah.
So Matt, I'm so excited to talk about your new book. It feels like it's hitting at the perfect time. Like, could you have timed it any more perfectly? AI for Educators. Tell us a little bit about it and why we need to have it on our bookshelves like today.
Yeah, sure. So if you're trying to wrap your brain around all of this AI stuff and figure out how it fits in education and how it can help you and everything, I think this book can really help. This is not a like detailed, technical, nerdy computer science, artificial intelligence book. This is a teacher book. And the way that I wrote it is the way that people say that they've been able to read it. And that is that it's readable, it's digestible. Some people have called it a page turner, and it just helps you. It helps you get a good grasp of how to understand its place. So in the book, it talks about implications on education, like what's it going to change? It gets practical and talks about some ways that you can use it. There's a whole chapter about cheating and plagiarism, which has been heavy on teachers' minds. So if you want to wrap your brain around that and get ideas, and it even talks about planning for the future. We were just talking about tomorrow glasses and preparing for our students' future instead of our present. I mean, just kind of goes into all of that stuff. So in the matter of about 24,000 words, which is not a super long book, you can get a pretty quick introduction to a lot of this stuff. So if you're sort of new to artificial intelligence and you want to get up to speed quickly in a way that you can actually read the book and enjoy it, that's what this book will do for you.
I'm putting the links on the chat.
And plagiarism, I feel like is heavy on teachers' minds right now, because it really forces us to rethink how we are going to assess student learning. And it's almost just, it's not an option anymore. We have to pivot, and it's a different way of thinking. That sounds like it'll be a very valuable resource.
Yeah, thank you.
Talking about resource, I have very little time, but I'm going to show you how we are using emerging technologies at Edpuzzle to save teachers' time, because that is important, right? So you guys know how to find a video at Edpuzzle. You go into the YouTube, right? You get the link. You go to the editable version of it, and then you keep the questions. This is nothing new. But when you hit the questions, you have this fabulous magical button that says generate questions. It is available now. And because we don't want to make you choose, you can pick both, either open-ended or multiple choice questions.
You get AI.
And it will automagically give you suggestions on questions and where to put those questions. So you can either accept the questions as they are, discard them, or you can edit them. It is OMG a time saver. We use the community because most likely another science teachers how to use that video, and we have that video in our browser system, right? Dashboard. There you go. I'm forgetting my English. Anyways, and then this is the other part of Teacher Assist. Once you have open-ended questions, a teacher asked me, Manny, will you ever have a feature that it will automatically auto-grade open-ended questions? I looked at her, I'm like, girl, really? How? Well, now we can. So this is a lesson that has some questions, open-ended questions ready to be answered. I mean, yeah, graded. So once you hit that blue button, you should be familiar with this because that is not new. You will have a new button that says auto grade. When you hit auto grade, it will ask you for your ideal answer. And what the automagical glittery happens will be the system will compare the answer. It will also catch slight variations, but it will compare the students' responses with your ideal answer and grade it based on that. Now, it's new, emerging technology, so just know that, check it. Yes, sir.
I'm seeing a question in the chat asking if the new feature works in multiple languages.
It works really well in English. It's going to work in Spanish, and other languages, we are not exactly sure, because it works based on closed captioning. But it's going to be English and Spanish is what we are told that is going to work great. Other languages,
that's cool.
TBD.
I love Linda Ann's comment. She's like, "Shut the front door."
Yes,
all caps.
That is so cool.
Well,
that's great. This is cool.
auto grade. So much time spent grading as a teacher. It's one of those little things that you can see where your students are without spending a ton of time going through manually grading those things.
So this is how we're doing it, and like Matt saying that this is just the beginning because this isn't going anywhere. Eventually, we're gonna be having more features that integrate, new emerging technologies into not just us, like everyone's using it because it's here to stay. So I think the key is how, like, I remember 3-4 years ago, they were saying like, we have to get students ready for for jobs that we haven't created it. I'm like, yes, then how are we doing that? How are we using the technology that we have available to help them understand things that their jobs hasn't been created, but then this is the key, like teach them how to use these queries smartly. Like we don't even know because we don't really use it. Other than like what you guys were saying, like creating scripts, creating lesson plans, but what else can I make out of this? I think that is the question.
I think this example of how you have the automagically generating questions, it's such a good example of what it can do, what AI can generally do for teachers, because all you're doing is you're having it generate all of these questions, and they might not all be perfect or exactly what you're looking for. But if you have it generate a bunch of questions, you can keep the ones that you like, you can adjust the ones that are close, and you can throw out the ones that you don't like. And that's really sort of like the mantra of AI in education, is like, gather lots of ideas, gather lots of stuff, and just use the stuff that you can and save yourself some time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Manny, you have another good question. So what about misspellings in student answers? What can we expect to see on the grading side for that?
So what we were told is that it really catches the idea of the answer. Like I have typos because English is not my thing, but it captures the essence of my answer because I've seen it happening, and it does it because it recognizes that that's not a word, but the context of how that word is being used. I'm telling you, it is magical. It is crazy how it knows. It just knows, and it just does it. Now, granted, it's everything with technology, you're gonna have to check it. Just at the end, you can make sure that those answers are actually correct because it's new, it's emerging technologies. But that's the idea. It does take it and like, okay, so maybe they try to say this other word, but it does catch it because it happened to me with my typos.
Good to know. I like that Linda says she needs a sparkly shirt that says Automagically. Yeah, can we expect to see that from you at conferences?
Yeah. And my sequin jackets, I should have like on the back, instead of my last name, it just says Automagically.
Don't worry,
that's right.
One. We'll make
sure. All right. There will be photos on social media if that happens. I'm just going to say.
Okay, we have another question coming in. Does the video have to have closed caption for auto-generating questions? That's a really great question, Manny.
So it worked, like from YouTube videos, it does it on its own. We are in the process of getting, well, actually, if you do it now, if you upload some videos on Edpuzzle, like videos that you create or videos that you have, it generates closed captioning. We're rolling that out, but it's based on closed captioning. So if you have a video on YouTube that the creator of the YouTube does not want, because it happens, I know it sounds crazy, but it happens. If there's no closed captioning allowed to be generated, it tells you, oh, I'm sorry, we can't generate questions. That's what's happening.
Well, but like you said, emerging technology. So things are always changing and evolving and growing, and so will our Automagical feature, which brings me to the next question, which is, does this work with audio responses?
I don't know. I haven't tested that out.
To my knowledge, it does not. But again, I say, everything is evolving and changing and growing. So stay tuned, my friends, because just because it's not here right now, doesn't mean that when we're talking back to school next year, or maybe even in 6 weeks from now, that it doesn't exist. Like Matt said, our tomorrow glasses, we don't know what tomorrow holds, right? So stay tuned.
I am adding on the chat the Matt's links. This is a blog post about AI. The links, books.
While you're typing that, I'll say that link that he gave to the big blog post, that was like some of that stuff got repurposed into the book. So if you go read that blog post, you're going to be getting some of the stuff that I actually put into the book. And it's got a ton of stuff. If you're wanting to just kind of get a baseline understanding of, you know, what AI is and what it's doing in education, you can just go to that link, which is ditch.link/AI. And yeah, there's lots and lots of stuff out there on our site that'll get you up to speed, sort of, you know.
You have a course. That's the last link I just posted.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And anything you guys notice with Teacher Assist that you like or that you don't like, that you want to see a little bit different or doesn't spit out exactly what you expect, shoot us an email at support@edpuzzle.com. We want to hear what you think, what works for you and what doesn't work well for you, so that we can continue growing and improving to better support you and your students every single day. That's our goal.
They can't wait to read your book. I love it.
Oh, will it
yeah.
generate math problems and application problems?
I know ChatGPT will do it. The thing is, what we use in Teacher Assist is honestly the community. Like if there's a math video that another teacher used, we use those. We suggest the questions that have been constantly, you know, was within the vicinity. Like if it's the same question, that's what we suggest. So it all depends on what kind of question it was. I highly doubt it's going to be an equation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. When it's one of those things that as you're trying, and right, it's AI, we're seeing it in real time as it's coming out. Manny, it looks like the links didn't post. Maybe you just sent it in the chat to.
Oh, he's sending it to hosts and panelists instead of everyone. I was just doing that too. So
Okay.
yep.
It's okay. It happened.
Okay, I was like, I am doing my job really well. I am very surprised. Thank you for calling me out. I love it, because if you guys don't say anything, I'll be like, I was perfect.
I see so many comments. People are so excited to read your book, Matt. And I am too. This is, I was telling Matt right before we came on that I read his newsletter. And if you haven't subscribed to his newsletter, you should. He had an excellent post. It was 10 conversations to have in your classroom about AI with students. I'm sure a lot of us are talking to our students right now about AI. So Matt, I don't know if you have the link that you could drop for us in the chat specifically to where people can go and subscribe.
Yeah, it's already in there.
Heck yeah.
So if you go to ditchthattextbook.com/join, and it's in the chat right there, that'll get you signed up to my email newsletter, where you get, you know, a few emails a week with practical teaching ideas that you can use in class right away. And if you join the email newsletter, you get a bunch of these free ebooks packed with a whole bunch of teaching ideas. Like I always kind of say, this is my attempt to try to write your lesson plans for you for at least a week, if not maybe more, you know, is to gather all the ideas out of those free ebooks. So that's at ditchthattextbook.com/join. And it looks like some of you, like Linda Ann says, I love my emails from Matt. They have amazing stuff. Karen says, I love Matt's newsletter. So yeah, if you haven't joined the newsletter, I'd love to have you. That'd be awesome.
Free. Linda likes free.
Yes. No, I agree. Yes. I agree with them. If you have not signed up, sign up. It will be a lifesaver.
Hey, before we go, I have an announcement to make, because
you're gonna tell them
last week. I am going to do a Texas tour. If you are in Texas, in the chat, I need you to tell me or message me on social media. Where are you? If you want us to visit you, and by us, it's me. So where Stormy's here. Oh my gosh, obvious. Yes. So let me know.
Most exclamation points.
I am planning my route. I have everything I know. I learned from Flip. I always say a disclaimer. I'm doing it because they helped me so much when I did that. So I'm gonna do that for our community too, because we need to, you know, bring people together.
Where in the world is Manny Discotech? Except it's where in the Texas world is Manny Discotech? Let's find out.
I'm gonna do all the things. We got 1 minute. Matt, last words. Let me post the book again.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll use my last moment to say that this Edpuzzle assist thing looks super, super cool. It's gonna save teachers some time. If you haven't gotten a chance to check it out, like this is cool. In the words of the Mandalorian, this is the way.
Say that on the certification. This is the way. I get all serious.
Yes.
I say, this is the way.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love it.
Thanks for coming and spending some time with us to chat all things AI. We adore you. Keep coming. We love seeing you.
Yes. All that they see, we made it on time, and we everything.
We made it. I didn't think we would. Good job.
All right, well, bye guys. Thank you, Matt, for just being, in the car chilling, just waiting for us. Love it. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I enjoyed it. This was super fun.
All right.
Come back every time.
All right. Toodaloo.
Bye.